My wife ignored my messages all day. At 11 p.m., she finally came home and smirked. You know what happened? I had a one-night stand with my boss and I'd do it again. I just nodded and finished my meal in silence. The next morning, when she woke up expecting coffee in bed, she got, you ever have one of those nights where your gut just knows something's off? Yeah, that was me sitting in my dimly lit kitchen at 10:58 p.m. poking at a plate of leftover fried rice like it had personally offended me. The clock above the stove ticked loud enough to double as a soundtrack for bad decisions. 11 hits and right on cue, I hear the front door open. Her heels started clicking down the hallway like an impatient metronome. Each step timed perfectly to announce, brace yourself. I'm about to ruin your week. She walked in like a movie villain who'd already practiced her monologue in the car. Same beige trench coat she always wore when she wanted to look important. The irony, it was the same one she wore the night she promised we'd always be honest with each other. Spoiler alert, she lied. Her eyes didn't even meet mine. They hovered somewhere above my head like I was furniture or worse, a subscription she'd been meaning to cancel. She tossed her purse on the counter, sighed dramatically, and I knew something theatrical was coming. Then came the smirk, the kind of half smile that should come with a warning label. You know what happened tonight? She said, her tone sharp, casual, cruel, like she was about to tell me my favorite show got canceled. I didn't answer, mostly because I was chewing, and because I wasn't sure which version of her I was dealing with, the drunk one, the guilt-ridden one, or the one who thought emotional warfare was foreplay. I had a one-night stand with my boss, she said like she was reciting the weather and I'd do it again. You could have dropped a feather in that kitchen and heard it echo. But me, I didn't do the whole dramatic fork drop thing like you see in movies. I didn't yell, throw plates, or faint into a conveniently placed couch. Nope. I just chewed my rice slowly like a monk meditating through a crisis. Each bite was a mix of soy sauce, betrayal, and the faint taste of my sanity trying to exit my body. Somewhere between bites 3 and 4, I swear I heard my dignity pack a suitcase. The thing is, when you've been married long enough, you learn to spot the exact second your relationship flatlines. Mine died somewhere between one night stand and I'd do it again. I didn't even flinch. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and nodded once. Not a dramatic nod. A small polite one. The kind that says, copy that. Message received. Enjoy the flames, sweetheart. It's the international sign for, oh, you messed up, but I'm too calm to make this fun for you. Apparently, she mistook that nod for weakness. Cute. She leaned back, crossed her arms, and smirked wider like she'd just won a prize for most honest villain of the year. You're not going to say anything? She asked, genuinely disappointed, as if she wanted a performance. Like I was supposed to give her the kind of meltdown that makes for good gossip later.
I appreciate you.
Sorry, Belinda. Wrong audience. I was done auditioning for roles in your soap opera. I swallowed, took a sip of water, and said, congratulations. Just one word. The silence that followed, oh, it was delicious. You could almost hear her brain short-circuiting. She blinked a few times like she was trying to process whether I was being serious. I wasn't smiling, but I wasn't angry either. Just calm, which, trust me, scared her more. Calm men are dangerous. They're the ones who start planning. Her jaw tightened. You're not going to fight for me? She said, her voice shaky, confused, maybe even a little scared, like she'd expected fireworks and got a spreadsheet instead. Fight for what, Belinda? I asked, my tone even. You're moving in with your boss and pregnant with his child, not joining a pottery class. That landed like a punch she didn't see coming. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. The silence stretched long enough to make both of us uncomfortable. Then she grabbed her phone, muttered something about needing space, and stomped off toward the bedroom. I didn't follow her, didn't beg, didn't ask questions. Instead, I sat there watching the condensation trail down my water glass like it had all the answers I needed. My brain was running faster than a caffeine-fueled accountant during tax season. I was angry, sure, but under that anger was something sharper. Focus. I looked at the leftover rice, then at the woman disappearing down the hall. And I swear I felt this strange sense of peace, like, yeah, this is it. The plot twist my therapist warned me about. And in that moment, as the door to our bedroom slammed, I mentally opened a brand new Excel sheet in my head and titled it Operation by Belinda. Column A, Assets. Column B, Passwords. Column C, Exit Strategy. I even gave it a color-coded format because if I was going to dismantle a marriage, I wanted it to look organized. I sat back, exhaled, and smiled. A real one this time. Not because I was happy, but because I knew something she didn't. Calm wasn't weakness.
You
It was precision.
Just say
She thought she'd just detonated a bomb.
Sour.
She didn't realize I was the guy who built the fallout shelter. She came back out a few minutes later, hair tied up, face freshly washed, wearing one of my t-shirts like she was auditioning for sympathy. "You're not saying anything," she muttered, almost defensive.
You
don't even care.
Tea.
I shrugged.
Navy, thank you so
Care
much
is
for the
expensive.
30 bits.
I'm saving mine for someone who deserves it. Her eyes narrowed. "You're unbelievable." "Funny," I said, standing up and collecting my plate. "That's what your boss probably said, too."
I told you
That
guys
one
this
hit.
yesterday. I
She
did
huffed,
turn off
stomped
the alert
past me again,
for,
and slammed the bedroom door again.
Like any
I
of the
rinsed my
special
plate,
redeems
loaded the dishwasher, and actually
within-
laughed. A real laugh, the kind that comes when
using
you've hit the
bits and
point of
stuff
no
like that,
return,
so the
and
gigantic
suddenly feel lighter.
emotes,
Because honestly, what else is left to lose? I poured myself a drink, turned on the TV, and flipped through channels until I landed on one of those late-night infomercials about self-improvement.
Because there are
Some
times
shiny
where
teeth
you
guy
guys
in a
do
suit was saying,
spam
"Your life can change in one
the,
decision." I raised my glass to the screen and
things
said,
like that,
"Cheers
and
to
I was
that,
like,
buddy."
maybe
Around midnight, I
we
heard her
should,
crying through the door. Not loud sobs, just that quiet, muffled kind that sounds like guilt trying to negotiate with
Put them
pride.
away.
I didn't go in.
Oh, no,
I'd
no,
done
no,
that before.
not.
Comforted, consoled, believed. Not this time.
5, 10,
That chapter was over. And for once, I was going to let the silence do the talking. I went to my desk, opened my laptop, and actually created that Excel sheet
I
for
don't
real.
drink tea. I'm a
Yeah,
coffee kind
I'm
of
that guy. Heartbroken,
I
but
don't
efficient.
drink coffee at all.
I started listing every shared account, every
I've
asset,
never liked
every
coffee.
subscription, Netflix,
Never
Spotify,
tried
the
it,
damn
so-
Costco card. If she was
I
walking
tried it,
out,
but I
she
just
wasn't
don't
walking
drink
out with the
coffee.
perks. By the time I was done, I'd mapped out a 12-step
kinda
plan to
guy.
reclaim my peace of mind and most of my furniture.
Except
It was therapeutic,
milk in mine.
like journaling, but with more formulas. At one point, I paused, staring at our wedding photo framed on the bookshelf. We looked happy, two idiots grinning at a future that apparently came with fine print. I walked over, picked it up, and set it face down. Not out of anger, just closure. That version of us didn't exist anymore. And honestly, good riddance. The house was quiet. Too quiet. I missed the days when quiet meant peace, not aftermath. But then, somewhere between the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of that damn wall clock, something in me settled. The ache didn't vanish, but it stopped screaming. That's when I realized maybe this wasn't the end of my life. Maybe it was the start of my rebranding arc. I sat on the couch. Milo the dog, my only reliable roommate, jumped up beside me, his head tilting like he was asking, "We good, man?" I scratched behind his ears and said, "Better than ever, buddy. We're downsizing drama."
Who's ding
He wagged his tail, which I took as emotional support. The next morning, I'd probably have to face her again. Pretend to
like my
coexist
coffee
while pretending not to
black.
see her texts from Mr. Boss Man. But
call
tonight,
me sour.
I let myself breathe.
I never said
I'd survived the
I
confession.
wasn't sour.
The bomb went off and I was still standing barefoot, bruised ego, but standing. As I turned off the lights, and headed to bed on the couch,
Okay.
obviously, I muttered to myself, "You did good, man." Because sometimes surviving is enough.
Fish.
I pulled a blanket over myself,
Speaking of that, guys,
stared at the ceiling,
it is
and smiled
the
one
last
last
2
time.
days for fishing
Not
as
because
well.
of her, because of what she'd just given
if you want
me.
to be the top fisher
Clarity,
for the month,
motivation, and the rarest gift
Just
of
an
all,
FYI.
a clean break disguised as betrayal. And right before sleep took
You
over,
only have
I thought about how tomorrow would go.
between
She'd
today
probably
and
wake
tomorrow
up
to
pretending
get that
nothing
spot.
happened. Maybe she'd make coffee. Maybe she'd try to act normal. But I knew better. The moment she confessed, she set off a countdown she didn't even know existed. Day 1 of Operation Bye Bye Belinda had officially begun. And damn, it was going to be beautiful. Morning sunlight used to mean something peaceful.
Okay.
Fresh starts, new chances, the smell of coffee, the illusion that life wasn't a complete circus. Not today. The sunlight crawling through my
I don't
blinds
know if I
felt
need to
judgmental,
get,
like
how
even
do I
nature was in
get
on the gossip. I woke up on the
DLC?
couch, neck sore, dignity bruised,
stuck-
and the
oh,
faint
you're
echo of
stuck
last
over that
night's.
pile.
I slept
like,
with my
why
boss
is there
still
no
buzzing like a
customers coming in?
mosquito in my skull. You know what's funny?
There's a pile
Betrayal
from
doesn't
the
wake you up
store.
with a slap. It wakes you up with clarity and a cramp. I rolled over, groaned, and checked the clock. 7:13 a.m. I had exactly 47 minutes before she emerged from the bedroom, pretending life was normal.
It's like,
So, I did what any emotionally stable, freshly betrayed husband would do. I made coffee strong enough to file for divorce on its own. The sound of the coffee maker sputtering filled the kitchen. That smell,
I was wondering
normally
why
my
there's like a
favorite,
backup
hit different.
of customers
This wasn't
right now.
comfort. This was caffeine for war. I stood there in my boxers and an old t-shirt that said, "World's okayest husband." The irony stung and then I heard it. Her voice, that familiar, casual tone like she hadn't detonated my evening 12 hours
so
earlier.
between today and tomorrow
Coffee,
is the
please,
last day
she called out, stretching her syllables like I was her personal barista in this emotional Starbucks we apparently lived in. Usually, I'd bring it to her with foam art, maybe a dumb heart shape on top, because I used to believe in trying. I'd even drop a kiss on her forehead like an idiot who thought loyalty was a team sport. Not today. Today, I stood in the doorway sipping my own cup, smiling like a man who'd just discovered the Wi-Fi password to freedom. She looked at me from the bed, hair messy, face unbothered, like betrayal was part of her skincare routine. Coffee? She asked again, impatient. Oh, I said, tilting my head. You mean the one-night stand special? Comes black, bitter, and served cold. The way her eyes blinked once, twice, confusion blooming like a bad rash was pure art. She actually had the nerve to look offended. What's that supposed to mean? I took another slow sip because timing matters in these things. I think you know, Belinda, unless amnesia was part of the pillow talk. She frowned, sitting up, clutching the blanket like it could hide her shame. You're still mad about last night? I raised an eyebrow. Still, you confessed to cheating, bragged you'd do it again, and went to bed like you just finished reading a bedtime story. So, yeah, still might be understating it, she huffed, brushing her hair back. I was drunk, right? I said, nodding. Because tequila makes you honest, not creative. You didn't invent that story. You just lost the ability to filter it. For a second, she looked guilty. Then, like clockwork came the deflection. You've been distant lately, always working. You made me feel neglected. Ah, there it was. The classic villain monologue. You made me cheat. I almost clapped. I'm sorry, I said, voice dripping with sarcasm. I didn't realize loyalty was something you canceled when the Wi-Fi got slow. She glared, but I didn't stop. You felt neglected, so your solution was to play Twister with your boss. Genius. What's next? Rob a bank because you felt underpaid? She rolled her eyes. You're being childish. Childish? I laughed. No, childish is eating cookies before dinner. I'm being factual. I walked over to the counter, poured her a cup of coffee, black, no sugar, and carried it back, setting it down with a smile so polite it should have been illegal. Here, I said, your morning dose of consequences. She stared at the cup like it might bite her. What's your problem, Belinda? I said, leaning on the doorframe. My problem is I used to think we were a team. Turns out I was playing basketball while you were interviewing for the other side's cheer squad. Her lip trembled for half a second. Then she recovered, grabbed the cup, and took a sip just to prove a point. I swear the bitterness hit her soul. She set it down fast. You're being dramatic. No, I said, I'm being honest. You should try it. I hear it's trending this season. For a long moment, we just stared at each other. The kind of silence that doesn't need words because the air is already screaming. She tried to hold my gaze, but guilt's heavy. Eventually, she looked away. I made a mistake, she whispered. I tilted my head. Just one, because that's not how you described it last night. That one landed. Her shoulders tensed and she started fiddling with the blanket again. Can we not do this first thing in the morning? Oh, sorry, I said. Mock apologetic. I didn't realize betrayal had office hours. She scowled. You're an ass. Thank you, I said, sipping again. Took years of marriage to earn that title. She swung her legs out of bed, clearly done with my entire existence. I don't have time for this, she muttered, heading toward the bathroom. Of course not, I said. You've got to get to work. Wouldn't want to keep your boss waiting. Her hand froze on the door handle.
You tell him.
Bingo. She turned around, fire in her eyes. You're not funny.
Clear.
Oh, I disagree, I said, grinning. I'm hilarious.
Ooh.
You just lost your sense of humor around the same time you lost your moral compass. She disappeared into the bathroom, slamming the door. The sound echoed through the house, but it didn't shake me. I felt good. Not healed, not happy, but powerful, like a man who'd stopped drowning, and realized he could stand up in the water the whole time. I went to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and laughed when I saw her meal prepped lunches neatly stacked on the top shelf. All those color-coded containers for a woman who couldn't organize her conscience. I pulled one out, labeled Tuesday tuna salad, and fed it to Milo, who wagged his tail like he just inherited wealth. Enjoy it, buddy, I said. You're eating guilt-free. The rest of the morning was quiet. Too quiet. She got dressed in silence, doing that thing where she pretends to be mad to cover up being caught. Every move she made screamed, I'm the victim here. She grabbed her purse, avoided eye contact, and headed for the door. Hey, I said as she reached for the handle. She paused. What? You forgot something? She turned, confused. I lifted her empty coffee mug. Your cup?
Yes, actually,
Thought you
that
might
is
want to take
something
it with
that
you.
I need to do.
Symbolic since it's as
I have a
empty
whole
as your
to-do list of
apologies.
things that I want to
Her
do,
mouth fell open.
and I want to set up a voice
No
changer.
words, no defense. Just
Haven't
one
gotten
sharp
around to
exhale
it.
through her
I'll
nose
get around
before
to it
she
at some
stormed
point,
out,
you know?
slamming the door
I'm
behind
super
her.
duper busy.
And just like that, I was alone. For the first time, the silence didn't hurt. It hummed. The air
Maybe
felt
I'll
lighter.
get around with
My
it
kitchen wasn't a
the
crime
next
scene
couple
anymore.
days.
It was the
'Cause I
headquarters
keep
for
on saying,
Operation
I
Bye
wanna
Bye
do a
Belinda.
voice changer.
I cleaned the mug she didn't drink from, wiped the counter, and caught my reflection in the window. I looked tired, sure, but there was something else there, too. Focus. The kind that comes when a storm clears and you can finally see the wreckage you're going to rebuild from. I picked up my phone, opened a note, and started typing. Phase 1, mental detachment complete. Phase 2, information gathering in progress. Phase 3, legal execution pending. Yeah, it was dramatic, but so was she, and I was done being the supporting character in her show. I spent the rest of the morning doing little acts of quiet rebellion. Cancelled her streaming subscriptions. Changed the Netflix password from Belinda Baby to Try Again Liar 123. Unlin her Amazon account. Even changed the smart home voice to male and renamed it Karma. So now whenever she'd say Alexa, the voice would respond, I think you mean consequences. It was petty. Beautifully petty. Around 10 a.m. Tara called. Hey man, how's married life? He asked clueless. Defunct, I said. What? Yeah. I sighed, stirring my now cold coffee. Turns out my wife's extracurriculars include networking. Horizontally. There was a long pause. Then Tar whistled. Damn, bro. You good? I chuckled. Define good. I'm emotionally homeless but financially awake.
Wait, I'm just
That's
confused.
dark,
Wait,
he
maybe,
said.
were you kidding
You want me to
again?
come by? Nah, I said. I've got this. I'm starting my new
confused.
side hustle, revenge, but make it subtle.
Should I
He
break?
laughed. Only you would turn
get
betrayal
food?
into a project plan. Of course,
You
I
should
said
get food?
heartbreak's just rebranding with more paperwork. After we hung
I
up,
gotta
I leaned
personally
back in
fill
my
up
chair, feeling something weirdly
my
close to excitement.
little gas
My
tank.
marriage might have imploded, but my sense of humor thriving.
That's all.
By noon, she texted, "We need to talk tonight." I stared at the message for a full minute before replying. Sorry, busy making coffee for someone faithful. Petty, absolutely satisfying, beyond measure. I set my phone down, poured another cup for myself, and raised it in a toast to the quiet.
Maybe you said you were
Here's
gonna
to
play
mornings
some
without
Fortnite
pretending.
Me. Rude.
I said
But really,
aloud.
it's fine.
Milo
I don't
barked
need
like
to
he
fight.
agreed.
I can solo.
And for the first time in months,
I'm
my
not
coffee
playing
didn't taste
Fortnite
bitter.
yet.
It tasted like freedom.
I still have another
If you told me a month ago that my post-breakup coping
hour and a
mechanism
half
would involve
until I
Excel,
even touch
I would have
Fortnite.
laughed in
Maybe
your
a little
face.
less, like maybe an
But there I
hour
was,
and
a
15
day after
minutes. I
Belinda's
don't know.
morning performance of coffee,
all I'm
please,
doing is
sitting
I'm
in my
kinda
home
doing
office in
Fortnite like I
pajamas,
did last
drinking
night.
cold
That's
brew out
all
of a
I'm
whiskey
doing.
glass,
I'm
creating
gonna
what
play
might be
some
the most
Fortnite
emotionally satisfying
before
spreadsheet ever conceived. While she was
bed.
at work, or whatever
Open up
she
my
was
present
calling her
box
extracurricular
and do all
activities
the
these
things.
days, I began my new favorite hobby,
See?
data collection. Forget
Harassing
yoga,
Captain.
meditation, or journaling. Revenge
Don't know
organization therapy.
Who is more confused,
That was my jam.
Captain or me?
I opened my laptop, cracked my knuckles, and titled a
am
new
confused.
document. Operation Bye Bye
confused all the
Belinda,
time.
Assets, Accounts, and Annihilation. Column A, Accounts. Column B, Passwords. Column C, Transfer Status.
Oh, I'm
Column
stuck.
D, Emotional Damage Level. I wasn't crying,
Good.
I was
support
auditing.
this.
C, Belinda always said
My
I had control
confusion?
issues.
I don't.
What she didn't realize was that control is just responsibility with better branding. So, while she was out building her career, practicing workplace betrayal, I was building my firewall. My first stop, joint bank accounts. I logged in, changed the password from Love Wins 2020 to Karma Wins 2025 and set up
Gotta
notifications
order some
for any
more
transaction above
armadillos.
$5. I also might have renamed the savings account from Vacation Goals to You Played
We
Yourself.
have
Then came
customers out
insurance
here.
policies, life, car, health, you name it. I dug through drawers like a detective in a Netflix series called CSI, Marriage Fraud. By the time I found her hidden folder labeled Private Docs, I was practically humming. Inside were old receipts, tax forms, and a
Thank
love
you.
note from 2018 that read, "We'll always be each
I
other's
think we're gonna
person."
take the Christmas
I stared at it for a
decorations away.
second, laughed and said, "Guess
Let
she
me look at the
outsourced that
garage
position."
to see how we're doing
Then I
on
fed it to the shredder.
tires.
Therapy in
We're
motion.
good.
But the real joy came when I got to the passwords.
Okay.
Oh, the
Alright,
passwords.
we're-
I had every single
good
one
for a
stored in
minute.
a secure manager because unlike Belinda, I don't trust easily. I printed the list, highlighted the ones I planned to
Oh,
change,
low pressure.
and labeled them like trophies. Netflix done. Amazon done. Spotify access revoked. Enjoy ads, trader email. Oh, this one was fun. I set an auto reply that said, "This inbox no longer accepts messages from cheaters or clowns." I even added a small formula at the top of the sheet. Equals if Belinda equals honest miracle expected outcome. I sat back, sipped my coffee, and smiled. Revenge wasn't loud. Revenge was neat. Around noon, I texted my best friend, Tar. Now, Tar's the kind of guy who believes that every emotional problem can be solved with either encryption or tacos. He's an IT consultant by day and a chaos enthusiast by night. I sent him a simple message. Need your help securing my emotional assets? He replied in 10 seconds. You're finally hacking her. No, I wrote just locking down everything before she gets creative. So, digital divorce prep. Exactly. Operation Bye Bye Belinda. I'll bring my laptop and queso. By 3:00 p.m., Tar was in my living room barefoot eating chips on my couch while scanning through my laptop like it was a hostage situation. Man, he said between bites. You're turning heartbreak into a business plan. Of course, I said deadpan. Divorce is just emotional rebranding. I'm pivoting. He laughed so hard he almost spilled salsa on my keyboard. You're serious completely. I'm done crying. I'm spreadsheeting my feelings. He gave me a look that said, "You've lost it, but I respect it." Then he started coding. I can set up two-step verification for everything. Want me to block her devices from logging in? Absolutely, I said. If she wants Wi-Fi, she can ask her boss for the password. While he typed, I scrolled through her Instagram out of morbid curiosity. New post, a flat lay of coffee, croissant, and a caption that read, "Self-care isn't selfish." I laughed so loud. Milo barked. Self-care girl. You're the reason therapists have job security. Tar leaned over. Oh, she posted. Let me see. He looked at the photo, squinted, and said, "Bro, that's the same bracelet you bought her for your anniversary." I stared. Oh my god, she accessorized infidelity. Want to hack her account? He asked casually. I grinned. Tempting.
I'm sorry.
But no, we're not playing dirty. We're playing smart, right? He said, smart revenge. Got it. For the next few hours, we worked like accountants on caffeine and spite. We backed up every financial document, cross-referenced property deeds, even took screenshots of her online purchases because nothing says betrayal like buying lingerie during a recession. By sunset, I had a color-coded system that could have impressed the IRS. Green meant secured, yellow meant pending, red meant lawyer time. I sat back, exhausted but proud. It's beautiful, I said, staring at the screen like Michelangelo admiring the Sistine Chapel. Hark nodded. You've officially weaponized Excel. Heartbreak requires structure, I said. He laughed. Man, you're going to turn this into a TED Talk. Title, How to Monetize Betrayal, A Journey in Conditional Formatting. We clinkinked our coffee mugs in a toast. That night after Tar left, I sat alone with my masterpiece of a spreadsheet glowing softly on the screen. Each cell represented control, closure, and a little bit of vengeance. I even added a note at the bottom that read, "She thought I'd crumble. Joke's on her. I calculate." I printed a copy for safekeeping, slipped it into a folder, and placed it in the drawer next to our marriage certificate, which now felt like a warranty that had expired early. Then just for fun, I opened the bank app again. Her latest transaction popped up. $87.50 Wine Loft Bar and Lounge. I smiled. Oh, you're still at it. I didn't feel jealous, not even mad. Just strategic because if she thought she was the only one capable of surprises, she clearly never met me mid-motivation. I started researching divorce attorneys, landed on a name that sounded like she charged by the ounce of confidence. Mrs. is Delgado-esque. Her website tagline read, "Don't get everything I bookmarked it." Poured another drink and leaned back in my chair feeling something close to peace. Revenge wasn't chaos, it was math, and I was damn good at math. By midnight I had my plan neatly stored in both physical and digital form, password protected, cloud backed, and printed on premium paper because if I was going to burn down a marriage I wanted it to look professional. I sat there in the glow low of the laptop screen. Milo curled up by my feet and realized something that actually made me laugh out loud. She thought she'd broken me, but what she'd really done was wake me up. I looked at my reflection in the dark window and said to myself, "Congratulations, Belinda. You just turned a man into an organized hurricane." Then I shut down the laptop, patted Milo on the head, and whispered, "Revenge may be slow, buddy, but it autosaves." When people imagine hiring a divorce lawyer, they picture dramatic phone calls, boxes of tissues, maybe a playlist titled Heartbreak and Chardonnay. Me, I walked into Mrs. Delgado's law office like I was clocking in for a board
trying
meeting.
to research
I didn't want pity.
here.
I wanted precision. I didn't need therapy.
Screamed
I needed a woman who
ears.
saw marriage not as sacred, but as a contract that could be dissolved faster than bleach on a red wine stain. Mrs. Delgado didn't disappoint. Her office smelled like Victory and lavender sanitizer.
Not funny.
Diplomas lined the wall, each one basically screaming, "I've ruined happier couples than yours." She was in her 50s,
like,
silver
thumbs it
hair
up,
cut sharp
like,
enough to slice
great
egos,
job.
wearing a suit that looked like it came with its own legal precedent.
Okay, I'm very
The second she shook my
confuzzled
hand, I knew
of
Belinda was in
how
trouble.
I can get
Her grip was
the-
firm, her nails immaculate, and her eyes carried the kind of
the
confidence
cinema.
you only get from winning arguments against men twice your size and
giggling.
IQ. "So, Mr. Carver," she said, settling behind her
Captain,
desk.
I'm not ready.
"Tell me everything,
I'm
and don't
freaking
leave out the
out.
juicy parts.
Okay,
I
it is
bill by
fine.
the hour, but I
Everything's
enjoy
fine.
good storytelling." I
If
smiled.
It's any,
"You'll get a bestseller." My wife
heard
confessed
it
she had a
twice.
one-night stand with her boss recently.
how did
She
you hear
asked,
it? Did
pen
you,
poised
did
like a
everyone hear
dagger.
it twice?
Last
Or
week,
was it just
right
me
before
who heard
bedtime.
It twice?
Great timing, really.
No, or was it
Nothing
just
like
Ro who
ruining
heard it
sleep and
twice?
trust in one sentence.
I don't know.
Mrs.
I'm
Delgado
confuzzled
nodded
now.
sympathetically,
My whole
but
life
smirked
is
just slightly.
confusing.
"And you have proof?" "Oh," I said, leaning
we
forward
don't
with the
have a-
confidence of a man who'd already built a case stronger than Starbucks
Lady.
coffee. "Mrs. Delgado, I have more
Who
documentation
is
than the
handling
IRS."
register?
Her eyebrows lifted.
Oh, no.
"Show me."
You're,
I opened my laptop, clicked the folder
Henry
labeled
Queen
Exhibit
Station.
Belinda, and
Ro,
turned the screen
can
toward
we
her.
listen
She scrolled
before
through
it
bank
pays?
statements,
Just
texts,
that it
and
gave
photos
it to
with the
me.
enthusiasm of a woman watching her favorite courtroom drama. "Oh, she's
I was
done,"
like,
she said finally.
Am I missing
"This is like
something?
watching a cat bring a bird home and pretending
Okay.
it's a gift. I want it handled cleanly,"
Did I complete
said.
the achievement?
"No yelling, no chaos, just paperwork and poetic justice." Her lips curved into a satisfied smile. "I like your style, Mr. Carver. Calm vengeance is my
So-
favorite flavor." For the next hour, we quietly rearranged my life like we were redecorating after a flood. House title under my name only, legally transferred
I
through
don't
a
know
quiet
how
amendment she
I
drafted
get
before it even finished
The drive-in
explaining.
movie theater.
Joint accounts
I
locked.
don't.
Cards flagged for suspicious activity.
And
Mrs.
I'm very
Delgado typed
confuzzled
so
right
fast
now
it sounded like Vengeance had a
because I
soundtrack.
wanted to do the
"Your
drive-in
wife's about to
today,
learn," she said.
and
"That
it's not
silence
working.
isn't forgiveness,
Also,
it's
Uncle's
strategy."
at the garage right now.
I nodded.
and
"I
no
just
one
want to
called me.
protect what's mine, maybe give karma a little nudge." "Consider it done," she said. "You'll sign papers today. I'll
Uncle,
file by
I am
morning, and
not
by the
taking a
time she
bribe.
realizes what's happening, she'll be swiping a declined card at Target." Music to my ears. By the time I left her office, I felt 10 pounds lighter, and not just emotionally. It's amazing how freeing it feels to turn heartbreak into logistics. I drove home, windows down, wind in my face, blasting, "We Are the Champions,"
Uncle,
because irony is a coping mechanism. When I got home, I made myself a sandwich,
You're driving
sat at
this
the
nice
kitchen
vehicle
table,
and you got
and
some
just admired my
flats.
work. The silence in the house didn't feel
also,
lonely
your
anymore.
vehicle's a little
It
dirty,
felt earned.
Unks.
Then my phone buzzed. "Belinda. Hey, why is my car not working?" I stared at the screen, chewed my sandwich
Oil?
slowly, and smiled. Then I typed back. "Maybe it's seeing other people." Read at 6:17 p.m. No reply. I laughed out loud. Even Milo looked impressed. "Don't look at me like that, buddy." I told him, "You'd do the same if you had thumbs." A few minutes later, she called. I didn't pick up. I wanted her to marinate. 10 minutes after that, another text. "Belinda, I'm trying to buy groceries." "What's going on?" "Me? Maybe karma's cutting carbs." I tossed my phone aside and poured myself a drink. God, it felt good. Not
I was like,
cruel,
"Don't tell
just
me we're out
balanced.
of mirrors."
The universe had been tipping in her
Can't
favor
treat
for too
unks
long,
like this.
and I was just redistributing resources. Around 8, Tara
Another
called.
one.
"You sound happy," he said suspiciously. "I met Delgado," I said. "The lawyer?" "Yeah,
Oh, there's
she's
a-
like if Judge Judy and Wonder Woman had a love child."
We got a
He
party bus
laughed.
coming in.
"That good." She reorganized my financial life in an hour.
Try
I
harder.
feel spiritually audited.
Uncle, you ain't
He
leaving.
whistled.
No.
"So, what's next now?"
Telling me
I
to try
said,
harder.
leaning back.
No.
Now I wait. Delgado's
I do
filing the
enough.
paperwork, locking down the rest of the accounts, and I'm sitting here
No.
watching justice slow cook.
You're a
He
mean
chuckled.
uncle. I'm telling you
"Damn,
that.
you really went full spreadsheet on this." Of course,
I paid
I
back
said
your
if she
money
can
if you punch
multitask
me in the
between
face.
lies, I can multitask between revenge and meal prep. He laughed harder.
Can't take this
"You're
anymore,
sick,
Uncle.
man.
I
I
can't.
prefer methodical." We hung up after a few jokes about Belinda's inevitable meltdown. I poured another drink and flipped on the TV, but I couldn't focus. My phone buzzed again, this time with a
Hello?
voicemail notification.
Zay.
Curiosity 1. I hit play.
Mind blank.
Her voice small and tight.
A second. I was like,
"Oliver,
who am
please
I saying
call
hello
me."
to?
My card got declined at the pharmacy.
Zay, by
I
the way,
needed to
I
pick
seen
up
your
something
message
important.
inside the group chat.
I smirked.
I haven't
Hope it
had
was
time
humility.
to respond.
I didn't call back.
I had
I didn't even feel bad. This was the
very
woman
busy
who'd looked
day.
me in the eye and
I will
confessed her
respond
affair
after
like she
stream.
was reading a grocery list. She'd earned this little inconvenience. The next morning, I met with Mrs. Delgado again
What's
to
up,
sign final
Captain?
documents. She had a file thicker than a Bible, neatly tabbed and labeled. All you need to do, she said, sliding it across, is sign here, here, and here. And congratulations, Mr.
No
Carver.
problem, take your time.
You're about to become independently unbothered. I signed each page with the satisfaction of a man autographing his own comeback story.
Stream.
When I was done,
It's just
she
one
said,
of those things
now,
where I had a
one
super
last
busy
thing.
day because
Do you want to
wasn't
freeze her
expecting
access to the joint car lease?
to
I grinned. Absolutely. Let's see how her boss likes
at
playing
work
chauffeur.
as
She
long as I
chuckled,
was
tapping a
today.
few keys. Done. Anything else? I thought about it, then
Who the
asked, can we
fricky
flag
frick
her
is
credit
honking?
for a review? Mrs. Delgado's grin widened.
Everyone, positions,
We can absolutely
please.
do that. God, I love this woman. As I was
throwing
leaving,
stuff.
she said, you're handling this remarkably well. Organization is cheaper
'Cause I
than
have a
therapy,
few
I
messages
said,
to
that
respond
earned me a
to
laugh.
on
Driving home,
Discord
I passed
tonight.
Belinda's office. Big glass building full of people pretending to love spreadsheets and pretending not to gossip. For a second, I thought about walking
One of
in,
those days.
giving her boss a polite nod, and saying,
We got
thanks
a
for the free motivation.
podcast.
But I had bigger plans.
I wish I was.
This
the
wasn't
alien.
about confrontation anymore. This was chess, not checkers.
God.
I stopped at a coffee shop instead, got my usual black, and sat by the window.
I think
I started
we're gonna
sketching
try
out
to
my next
save up
move.
some more money.
If Mrs. Delgado was the attorney
Well,
of destruction,
not too much more money,
I needed her
but
counterpart,
I think I do
the
wanna buy
accountant of
that lottery
ascension.
machine.
Someone to help me rebuild smarter, richer, and legally
and
bulletproof.
see what kind of
Enter Marcus Chun, CPA and part-time miracle
money that
worker.
brings in.
Tar referred me,
So
said the
maybe-
guy makes the IRS
Maybe we'll
blush.
just buy it
I
now.
called him that afternoon. Marcus
You know what?
Chun, he answered, voice smooth, calm, like a financial therapist. Hi, I said. I'm looking for help untangling some joint finances
now.
divorce. You're good.
Why
He
not?
chuckled. I'm better than good.
Live once.
I'm efficient.
Let's get some scratchers.
Send me everything. I emailed him the spreadsheet from Operation Bye Bye Belinda. He called
Try to
back
make
in
some
10
money.
minutes. Sir, he said,
If I ever make a lottery ticket,
this isn't
I'm gonna
immaculate.
make all
You
losers.
categorized emotional damage levels. I shrugged, though he couldn't see it. Helps with
Where's it
perspective.
at? Is it
He
not
laughed.
Here?
I'll handle the financial
you took
transfers.
my monies.
You handle not texting your ex?
Am I missing it?
Deal,
Oh, it's
I
over
said.
here.
2 professionals, one in law, one in numbers, were now handling my cleanup. And me, I just had to sit back and sip coffee like a man watching karma hit its milestones. By evening, Delgado emailed. Filed and confirmed. Expect updates within 72 hours. 3 days. In 3 days, my life would be officially Belinda-free.
Jackpot, $1,000.
That night, as I sat on the porch watching the sunset, I realized I hadn't checked her social media all day. That was progress.
That's $1,000
I didn't
coming out
need
of
to see
me.
her filtered healing journey. I was living mine unfiltered and tax
no.
deductible.
I
At
already lost
9:42 p.m.,
$1,000.
another text came through. Belinda, I don't know what's happening, but this is cruel. I looked at the
Did not
message for a
think I
long
was going
second,
to be
then
losing the
typed,
monies.
it's not cruelty, Belinda.
No one
It's
bought
closure
tickets
spelled
either.
correctly for once. Send. I turned off my phone, leaned back in my chair,
Cash
and let the
only.
quiet settle. Mrs. Delgado was right. Silence isn't forgiveness.
I'm only here
It's
until
strategy,
I win the lottery.
and damn,
Money's
was mine
everything.
working beautifully.
Love
A week later,
always wins.
Belinda claimed she
Cash
had a
only.
late meeting.
I
Cute.
love you more
That
than
phrase had become the
end.
national anthem of cheating spouses
I
everywhere.
win.
Late meeting translates
Enter to
to,
win.
I'm about to betray you. In high definition. She said it with her usual fake casual tone, wearing that tight black dress that used to be reserved for anniversaries, not accounting discussions. She spritzed perfume like she was prepping for battle,
Fish.
then leaned in and kissed
Fishy,
me on
fishy,
the cheek.
fishy.
I caught a whiff of betrayal disguised as Chanel. Don't wait up, she said. I won't, I replied, smiling just enough to make her wonder if I knew something. Because I did. See,
am I doing
I'm
it
not
like
the jealous
this?
type.
When I can
I'm the
use my
data
little
collection
trash
type.
baggie
When your wife cheats with her
thing
boss,
that I-
emotions are pointless.
the trash
Excel
bag that
sheets
I
and
carry
strategy.
on my person,
That's where the power is.
I could
So,
put it in
when
there.
she left, I finished my sandwich, poured another cup of coffee, and activated phase 4 of Operation Bye Bye Belinda, the stakeout. I wasn't doing it out of obsession.
You know?
I was doing it for closure and maybe evidence. Because when you're dealing with someone who lies professionally, screenshots are the
remember
only
on a good
language they
day-
understand. Now, a man in my position doesn't just follow
I'm
his cheating wife in his own car.
Waiting for this week
No,
to be over.
that's amateur hour.
Counting down the
I rented a
days.
gray sedan from Hertz, the kind of car that screams divorced accountant
Even
with
though it
nothing
just
left to
feels
lose.
like the week just
I even
started,
wore a
but you did.
baseball cap and hoodie. I looked like the human version of background noise. As I sat in that rental, parked a block from her office, I realized how absurd it all was. Me, a grown man, watching my wife's workplace like I was in some off-brand spy movie. But then, at exactly 6:42 p.m., the office door opened, and there she was, my soon-to-be ex walking out with her boss, the man himself, Mr. Forehead Shine 30,000. Let me describe this